Okay, beautiful people. It's your boy Prosper Michael. Uh, here live from Prime Media Studio, Lagos, Nigeria. Today's 10th of May, 2023. Of course, I'm going to be solo today. I'll be giving you tidbits across the dailies, all the news headlines, top major headlines, something you might expect or you don't expect. They have a lot of issues here and there in some of these parties, the APC, and so, of course, the election petition tribunals resume today again. So you're going to be hearing what's going on in that area, and of course some news from around the. Of course, you just look forward to a lot of news today. So this is for Michael one more time, and we're going to start off with the story on the Vanguard newspaper. These are most of the major headlines we'll get our headlines from. Vanguard newspaper. They talked about the 10th Assembly announced leadership crisis hits APC over zoning of Senate President and Speaker. So these guys are still having issue. I use the word guys because we're hearing it's up and down, and it's just hitting up. Today we hear this, tomorrow we hear that, and they have not been able to come up with the leader of that party. So we hope they get it right soon enough, so that that post will be sorted while the matter in the tribunal is still heating up. Of course, if you don't hear today, all this will be coming up. So that is how it is. You can see the headline there of Vanguard newspaper. So the story read, let me just give you details of the story. The zoning crisis in the All Progressive Congress APC has taken a new turn, with stakeholders singing discordant tones as various zones make fresh demands on the party hierarchy. The APC National Working Committee, NWC, on Monday zoned the Senate presidency of the forthcoming 10th National Assembly to the South-South, and the speakership of the House of Representatives to the Northwest. The party also zoned the Deputy Senate presidency to the Northwest and Deputy Speakership to the Southeast. Specifically, the party adopted the zoning template, and candidates of its president-elect, Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, and the settle for Senate Godswill Akpabio, Baru Jibrin for Senate leadership, and Mensah Abbas, Tajuddin Ben Carlo for House of Representatives leadership. While some stakeholders are in support of the party's move, others are against it and want a review. So there's this disagreement in that regard, because a lot of people believe that since the president comes from president-elect comes from the Southwest, the vice president comes from the North, so they expect that the Senate, the Assembly should be able to pick from the Southeast to be able to unify the country by this method, and also so that some people will not feel marginalized, so that everybody can have a taste of representative going. So the LUC is now divided over the microzoning of the positions. Yesterday night that the zoning template was not unanimously adopted by all members of the NWC. So this is a crisis looming, and of course I hope that they will be able to resolve this amicably. So let's move to the next story and make the headlines. Military onslaught. Terrorists flee Zamfara. Invade Katsina village. So they are being chased from one angle, and they are finding them in that community. So it's a good thing that the military are actually intensifying efforts in this to ensure that this menace is actually taken care of. So as the air and land components of the Nigerian military continued the onslaught on terrorists in Zamfara state, reports indicate that the terrorists have fled to neighboring Sokoto, Niger, and Katsina states, where they are currently making life unbearable to the locals. So the terrorists have specifically unleashed untold hardship and misery on villages close to Rugu Forest and Safana, Basari, and Dibia in Katsina State. This made many inhabitants of these villages flee to safer locations. So they are intensifying the effort in one location. The terrorists are actually moving to that location. I think also they cannot have enough manpower to do this. They cannot as well strategize to invade them once and for all, so that this would be a thing of the past. And so still continue. A native of Basari in Katsina State who craved anonymity as he spoke to the BBC Hausa service monitored by correspondent in Kaduna, said the terrorists have now occupied areas in Dibia, Shekewan, Yanlaba, Garin Labo, Jajayi, and Baranda, down to western Wagigi and Kikiyu, up to Safana border. So these are the environment, the local, where the terrorists have been invaded, and they have been identified. And also hope that the military will also sweep in quickly, so that this whole thing will be taken care of. And of course, let's moving on. Let's look at the story that also made the headline: presidential inauguration. Federal government orders airlines to relocate planes from Abuja terminal. So I think all these are just for safety precaution. I think so. So the story reads also that the federal government, through the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAN), yesterday directed airlines operating at the General Aviation Terminal of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport to relocate aircraft to alternate airports. In a memo to all airlines by FAN, Regional General Manager Abuja Airport, Mr. Kabiru Mohammed, cited by Vanguard, reads, "This is to inform you of the need to temporarily relocate your aircraft to alternate airports due to the upcoming presidential inauguration ceremony slated for May 29, 2023. The presidential inauguration is a high security event, and in order to ensure the safety and security of all parties involved, it has become necessary to temporarily relocate all aircraft parked at the GAT to alternate airports. To this end, you are kindly requested to relocate your aircraft on or before May 22, 2023. We understand that this may cause some inconvenience for you. However, the safety and security of all individuals involved in this event are our top priority." So I think the time frame is okay. Today is 10, so you have 12 days from now. If you have aircraft in that environment, you have 12 days from now to move them quickly before the inauguration. So they don't want to leave any stone unturned as regards this event. We want to make sure the event is peaceful, smooth as possible. And I don't know if this has happened before, where all aircraft will be asked to move because of inauguration, but this has been said. Warning, maybe they have intelligence information why they are saying this. I think is people should quickly, those involved should quickly obey this and ensure that that day it goes well as planned. Of course, there's still a story on that Vanguard newspaper. We say that the federal government, Nigeria, has invested heavily in youth development. That's our president making that comment. So he said that the federal government has there's serious investment in the youth. So President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday said Nigeria has invested heavily in youth development and has created formidable and reliable platform through which the young people and students can harness their their leadership skills and make relevant contribution to the decision-making process. President Buhari, while declaring open the Commonwealth Youth and Students Summit in Abuja, said his administration has heavily invested in youth development, creating formidable platforms through which youth can hone their leadership skills. Represented by Professor Ibrahim Gambari, his chief of staff, Buhari said, I am very optimistic that with the breed of young people gathered here, actionable policy decisions that will further enhance development and productivity of the youth will be reached for the heads of government of the Commonwealth to implement to further better the loss of young people of Commonwealth. Okay, so you can get that gist from the Vanguard newspaper online platform. The story is there. So if you believe that has been achieved, or you give me a plus. If you think has not been achieved, you have your opinion, of course. So we're going to move on to the next story that talked about presidential poll tribunal to consider PDP LP's live broadcast requests. Of course, we give you this the story just yesterday and the day before that PDP and they are asking for live telecast of the ongoing proceeding. So they want to be televised live, where people will be watching and seeing how it's going. My question is, would this really, what effect will it have on the decisions of the judges? But though on the long run, it can also assist people. It can calm the nerves when you are watching it live and you're not waiting for us to be told that this is what happened, this is what happened, this will not happen. So that will really eliminate the falsehood from information transmission. At least you have seen it. You can watch it with your device and see how it's going and know who and who. I think it's a good thing. We should be able to, judges should be able to at least look into this and consider it. So, but let's say that we look into this matter. We hope that it's decided so, because the proceeding has already commenced, and this is was shifted to today, which is 10th of May. So it has already begun. So they are okay. They will give it a thought, look into it. We hope it's properly looked into, so that everybody gets to see and know what is going on at the tribunal. Okay, well, we just have to move on to the next story that talked about Edo Police arrest Correctional Service naval officer for robbery. This is really strange. I'm just going to read the story so that you get the gist of the story. So, men of the Edo State Police Command have arrested an official of the Nigerian Navy, Ibrahim Adamu, 25, and operative of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Abdullahi Abdul Wabab, 36, over alleged car snatching and armed robbery. The State Police Public Relations Officer, SP, while parading the suspects on Tuesday, said they were arrested in military uniforms in Ekpoma by operatives while acting on credible information. One Buzo said the suspect attacked the driver of an unregistered C300 Mercedes-Benz car in Sapele, Delta State, and snatched the car from him and also forced him to transfer 400,000 naira to their account. He said it when they were arrested by the police in Ekpoma, Edo State. The suspect had made statements and claimed to be personnel of the Nigerian Navy and Correctional Service, respectively, he said. One person said the vehicle and military uniforms were also recovered from the suspects. Speaking with journalist Adamu, who was recruited into the Nigerian Navy in 2019, said he was arrested for stealing a Mercedes-Benz C300 car in Delta State. He said, I was recruited into the Navy in 2019. I worked in Lokoja, Kogi State before I was posted to Warri, Delta State. It was when I went on a course in Sapele that I made a plan to steal a vehicle. After my course, Abdullahi came to visit me and I told him my plans, assuring him that we would make money, and he agreed to join me. On his part, Abdullahi, who was said to be a correctional service officer in Kaduna State, said Adamu invited him to Warri for the job, saying that that was his first time taking part in a robbery. So there is already a confession, public confession to this, and we hope the courts will take its course on this, because this is very no one will really suspect such thing, but information is powerful, and this has helped to actually nip this. And if this exposition keep coming in, and a lot of people would desist from this kind of action. So okay, we just have to. That's the Punch newspaper, Punch online news, so you can get the gist of the story there if you want to read further. Then let's move on to the next story that talked about three suspected Ogun smugglers remanded. So you can see the picture there. They're smuggling foodstuff. So Federal High Court sitting OK Motion, Abeokuta in Ogun State, has remanded three suspected smugglers in a correctional center for alleged forgery and smuggling. The presiding judge, Ademola Ajayi, gave the order in the suit filed by the Ikeja Zone A Federal Operation Unit of the Nigerian Customs Service on Tuesday. So the defendants, Ismaili Shuaibu, Jimo Yakubu, and Abdullahi Muazu, were arraigned before the court on 2 counts of forgery and conspiracy by forging the NCS documents. The prosecuting counsel, Vivian Aigbedon, told the court that 2 of the 3 defendants allegedly forged the NCS exit note to evade the necessary duties payable to the government. Aigbedon said both Shaibu and Yakubu were standing trials for forgery and conspiracy, while Muazu was being tried for the illegal importation of Toyota RAV4 vehicle and some bags of foreign parboiled rice. The prosecutor, who is also NCSC assistant legal advisor, told the court that the defendants committed the offenses between January and February 2023 around Owode Idiroko Road, the Yewa South local government area of the state. She said the first and second defendants, Shaibu and Yakubu, conspired to forge Nigerian Customs Service document, exit note, declaration form, Port and Terminal Multi-Service Limited Provision Assessment Form, knowing the documents to be false and with the intent that the intent may in any way be used and acted upon as genuine. So they be caught on this forgery and all that. So they will definitely, the law will take its course on this note. So of course, some of these foreign rights have been actually the position has been stopped, and we see it in a system all over the place. And I think these are most of the methods they be using, and I think the custom officer also step up their game to ensure this does not continue. Okay, yeah, we have to move on to the next story. Making the headlines. This story is on China news platform. We can say there, let's say, no victor, no vanquished. Adeleke extends olive branch to Oyetola after Supreme Court verdict. If you've been following the story, it has been a tough one for Adeleke in and out of courts. So the governor said the president's display of support for him after the Apex Court verdict, despite party differences, showed that he is the father of the nation. So Adeleke is President Buhari here. So following the verdict by the Supreme Court on Tuesday, affirming his election as the governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke has urged his opponents, including his major contender, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, to join hands with him in moving the Southwest state forward. So Adeleke, who spoke on China's television Politics Today program, said there is no victor and no vanquished in the whole legal saga. With the litigations over, I call on all Osun State indigenes to join hands with me and move Osun State forward. He said, there is no victor and no vanquished. My hands are open for ideas. Anything that can do to move Osun State forward. So, yeah, of course, this is expected. This is how it should be when you have been able to clinch the position that you aspire for and all that. And all hands should be on deck to be able to move the nation forward, because the nation should be seen or regarded above all. It was just a competition, and one of that person won. So the other person, people should be able to come on board to ensure the states move forward. Those ideas you have that you want to become governor at all costs, bring it on board. Then work with the governor-elect to ensure that the state is in a better. Who knows? That might pave way for the next. Pave way for you for the next. After 4 years, thereabout. So that's what the lake is saying. Say, come, let's work together. So you're still watching Prime Media Studio, and here we'll give you tidbits, major headlines across the dailies, and so on and so forth. So thanks for joining us on this episode. We'll still have some gist for you. However, if you have not subscribed or this is your first time joining us, please subscribe so that whenever we are giving you out this tidbit, this news updates, and you'll be able to see what's going on. And we hope you do that. Okay, so the news is still on. We still have other headlines to give out today. Of course, we see that CBN to sanction shipping companies exporting undocumented cargoes. So Emefiele sent out this note of warning at the ROT 200 Non-Oil Export Summit 2023 on Tuesday in Abuja. A lot actually happened on Tuesday. A lot happened. So the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, has read out a route to shipping companies exporting undocumented cargoes from shores of the country. So Emefiele sent out this note of warning at the program in Abuja while speaking on the theme Challenges and Prospects to Success. He detailed the importance of diversifying from oil exports. We all know, I quote, we all know that a nation that continues to export more than it imports is destined to fail, and there will be no meaningful development of any nation without harnessing its export sector for the good of the nation, he said. So in the case of Nigeria, we know that developing the non-export oil sector is absolutely imperative, given that it holds vast potential for generating a significant amount of foreign exchange earnings. So the Apex Bank governor warned exporters who disregarded several warnings to follow due process in ensuring their documentation met the needed criteria for export. So this warning, I think, it should be hit to, and if you don't, of course, sanction might likely follow. Then moving on, still on the Chinese news portal. So we can see that you can see the image right there. Osibajo inaugurates Afam 3 power plant, says the Nigeria electricity market has huge potential. Of course, the vice president said Nigeria has the ingredients to create one of the best power markets in the world. So the vice and improvements in the electricity value chain, Nigeria could become one of the best power markets in the world. He stated this on Tuesday in his remarks at the official commissioning of the 240 megawatts Afam 3 fast power project in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, where he represented President Muhammadu Buhari. In a statement by his spokesman, Laolu Akande, Osibajo said, "We have all the ingredients to create one of the best power markets in the world. I am also confident it will within our lifetime. It will happen within our lifetime." The challenges before us now is for the industry to leverage on the improved commercial environment that has been created to sustainably supply electricity and improve service to all citizens. This administration has made significant strides in this direction. Defying the efforts of the administration in the sector, the vice president said the complete story is that in the past few years, we have seen more new money coming into the power value chain. These transactions include Quest PLC that become more core investors in Yola Disco in 2020 with a transaction within worth 13 billion naira. Last month in the National Council in Privatization, NCP approved the 30-year concession on Zugeru hydro power plant at 70 million a year. And over the story of Nigerian electricity supply industry is also getting better. So we see a lot of statistics here justifying a lot of improvement in this sector. So we hope that all these actually manifest to reality, because personally I have not had light in my area for some time. We're just running generator 247. So I think we don't want to be saying, this is my personal view, we don't want to be saying the promises alone. We want to be seeing action. We want to see things are happening. We want to see light. Like we all say in our local parlance, seeing is believing. That is what we know. We want to see things. We want to see these lights, all over the place, because the cost of let's say getting solar system, a lot of Nigeria currently afford that solar because of the cost of the panels and all that. And electricity is what, by now, I really hope that the country should actually have enough to be having stable electricity. Notwithstanding, there's promises there, and we do hope that this will result to something positive. Okay, yeah, moving on. Presidential Election Tribunal resumes pre-hearing pre-hearing today. Then there's a huge, serious advice to parties, lawyers against delay. So they are advising parties, counsel to the APC, the president-elect and his vice are, however, asking the court to dismiss the petition. And the Presidential Election Court on Tuesday resumes its pre-hearing session at the Court of Appeal in Abuja, the national capital. The Times Television reports that the 5-man panel led by Justice Haruna Samani continued from where they stopped on Monday. At the pre-hearing, the first petition called the Alice People's Movement, APM, which is challenging the victory of the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. APM alleged that the election was met with electoral malpractices and violence, among others. Counsel to the APC, the president-elect and his vice president are, however, asking the court to dismiss the petition. Justice Samani advised all the parties involved to consolidate their issues for determination to avoid duplications and waste of time. He subsequently adjourned the suit to Thursday, May 11, for the continuation of the hearing. The court has stood down to reconvene and take the last petition from the People's Democratic Party. So this is still ongoing. So maybe before later in the day, the whole gist of that story will be able to be cropped up. So they have been asking parties and lawyers avoid the delay. There's no need to delay, to waste time about this. Let's go straight to the point, and let's just be served as soon as possible, because there's a time frame for this petition. They have within 90 days to get this sorted, and time is running. Is there a possibility hoping that if this can be concluded before the swearing in 29th of May, which really, if it's possible, I believe it really help everyone to know the direction to face, because it doesn't happen that way. If it's not concluded before then, there'll be a lot of confusion. You don't know what the court might decide later on. But so it's still ongoing. We just keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes. All the hope, our hope is that, or the hope of average Nigerian is that the actual winner, who the people actually voted for, the courts will look into it and give the right judgment on that day. So I'm very sure I heard people praying from every angle. They are all praying, "Oh God, take over, take over." Of course, the judges right now, the judges are the God of this God of Nigeria right now, because whatever they say now stands. So we do hope that they will uphold their morale and do their best. So moving on, we still have the story from the. We see Sanusi speaking here, giving us. I think this was on the petrol subsidy. So petrol subsidy pushing Nigeria into bankruptcy. Sanusi warns. Of course, this has been what almost everyone has been crying, talking about. Subsidy here, subsidy there, and a lot of money is being expended on these. So, fuel subsidy debate took the front burner of a policy conversation and book presentation attended by eminent personalities in Abuja yesterday. Like I said, a lot of things happened on Tuesday, actually. So, some of the dignitaries, Lamido Sanusi, Nasir El-Rufai, and World Bank Country Director in Nigeria, Shobham Chowdhury, said the policy should be stopped because of its negative impact on the nation's economy. To Sanusi, a former emir of Kano, it amounts to stupidity for the federal government to continue subsidize payments when it is clear that it is pushing the nation into bankruptcy. He thereafter called on the incoming government of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu to stop the policy. Sanusi, who is also a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, said those in support of the subsidy must realize that cheap fuel is no more beneficial to the poor than education, healthcare, and power. His words, in 2011, we tried to explain that it's bad economics. For every $1 billion Nigerian spends on fuel subsidy, it is $1 billion out of education, $1 billion out of healthcare, $1 billion out of power, $1 billion out of infrastructure. What you people in support of subsidy are saying is that for the poor people in this nation, cheap fuel is more important than education, more important than healthcare, more important than power. etc. If you do that for 30 to 40 years, what kind of country are you going to have? Which is hard. So Sanusi described what currently obtains in Nigeria as a hedge and not a subsidy. He added, as subsidy is, you will say if the price is X, we will pay 20% of it. That's a subsidy. You will never pay more than X for a product whose price I do not control. It doesn't matter whether the oil price is $200 or $150 per barrel. The Nigerian government has an unlimited pockets, and it will fund the differences. So this subsidy issue has been a front burner of almost from all the presidential aspirants. They all be speaking as regards a subsidy. They all promise to remove the subsidy. The question is, which a lot of people have been asking, you're subsidizing because this is the cost of importing fuel into the country. Why can't we get the refinery fixed? If the refinery are working perfectly at the optimal level, there won't be a need of taking crude oil out to go and refine and bring it back at the end of the day, spend a lot of money. It can be refined here easily, and all the subsidy issue will be out of it. But nobody is speaking so much toward that direction of fixing the refinery. All the money that has been borrowed, if all this money has been expended in fixing the refinery, I'm sure this issue of subsidy would be something very easy to take care of or take away. So anyway, based on the advice of Sanusi, I believe the next administration are also looking towards ensuring that it's the removal, and I hope they will do it in a way that do not impact the average Nigerian, because when the fuel price goes up, it affects almost everything in the market, and which the burden will not come to the poor masses of the country. Of course, those that have enough money they can adjust with their level of wealth, but the poor man doesn't have so much. How would that poor man survive? So I'm sure that this will be critically looked into, or maybe there'll be wide consultation before this is removed, whatsoever it is, so that that money that is being paid in that direction will be used for something more meaningful that will benefit everybody. Okay, so we are actually winding up, as in rounding up this segment to the we're getting to the end. We'll take one more story, then we'll be able to call it a day right here. It's with Prosper Michael, and this is Prime Media Studio, and we'll be giving you tidbits, all the headlines, all the major stories that made the headlines from different online news platforms. So next, we're going to go to Daily Sun. We talked about the National Assembly. So we can see there that senators elect pushed for Kalu's and Yari tickets. So attempts by the President-elect Bola Tinubu to impose his preferred leadership candidates on the forthcoming Senate has suffered a setback. As senators-elect have vowed to resist the plot and forge ahead with their plans to elect their own candidate. APC announced the zoning formula of the party on Monday. The move has provoked the senators-elect to reinvigorate their earlier quest to vote for current chief whip of the Senate, Orji Kalu, and Abdulaziz Yari for the top two leadership position, contrary to an open contest which he benefited from during the presidential primary of his party. Tinubu had reportedly endorsed the candidatures of Godswill Akpabio and Barrow Jibrin for Senate President and Deputy, which was further ratified by the APC at the press conference held on Monday at the party's national headquarters in Abuja. Prominent Northwest senator-elect who pleaded not to be named described the actions of Tinubu as not only disappointing but provocative. Okay, according to the senator-elect, Akpabio remains an unpopular candidate due to his dented image and series of betrayals. The senator in waiting fingered Akpabio as having played a major role in the prison incarceration of Akwa Ibom North-East Senator Basi Abat and Delta North Senator Peter Wambushi, having seen both of them as political rivals in the realization of his Senate presidency ambition. Accusing Tinubu of denying other contestants the privilege of an open contest which he enjoyed under returning senator from the Northwest region, described Tinubu's endorsement as a dictatorship. I think Nigeria was supposed to operate separation of power, but with this endorsement, it's not really showing that we are operating in that level right now. The executive should not have any business with the judiciary or the legislature, because when you endorse somebody, for that person will do your bidding. So we'll be having rubber stamp Senate again, which would be good for the country. It's meant to be separation of power. I don't think the president-elect should have anything to do with this leadership, National Assembly leadership. He should just stay away, let them do their own thing. Whoever emerges, and that's it. If you bring a bill and that is good, of course, they are meant to honor it. If it's not good, then of course, they'll reject it. So we don't want to have a situation whereby at the tail end of administration, documents are brought and it's been signed. Money is being because president is elect. They are having time is elapsing, and they're bringing bill and for loans and all that. It's a bit endorsed. So we don't want to see that anymore. So anyway, I'm going to call it a day here. It's been Prosper Michael from Prime Media Studio, and as you know, what say the way it is over here. We want to get everybody informed to know what's going on in the country and all over the world. And so it's been me solo here. Of course, my colleagues around, but it's going to be with us. Not today. Hopefully, tomorrow is going to be together. I get tomorrow to be with Jesus as it is. So, the cameraman has been behind us, James. Thank you for watching. So, do have a lovely time, a lovely day ahead.